The Greek island of Samos has long been a target for refugees and migrants trying to enter Europe across the Aegean Sea. And though numbers have fallen recently because of COVID, they'll doubtless return when the pandemic recedes. But what happens after they make it ashore? In late 2020, a team of filmmakers went to investigate reports of atrocious conditions in the island's reception camp. This is what they found.
Samos is a small Greek island in the Aegean Sea, lying just 2 kilometers off the Turkish coast. Its capital, Vathy, overlooks a picturesque bay. A small town of 8,000 inhabitants, it's well known for its beaches and cultural attractions. But behind this tourist paradise sits one of the largest refugee and migrant camps in Europe. Over 3,500 men, women and children are living here, waiting for the authorities to accept their asylum applications. The camp is divided into 2 areas: an official section and the jungle, an unofficial overflow zone. The Greek authorities would not let us enter the official section. We were told this was due to COVID-19 precautions, although we saw hundreds of people come and go from the camp every day. In the jungle, supposedly a public space, the police frequently tried to move us on. Several times they took us to the station to check our credentials. After 5 days of filming, the message was clear. We were not wanted anywhere near the camp.
I have to check you, okay? It's my job, I can check you 10 times a day, okay? If I see again the camera to shoot here, we have problem, okay?
So what is happening here that they don't want the world to see?
When I knew coming, these children 3 months, but now 1 year, 6 months.
This Kurdish refugee fled the war in Syria with his wife, 2 children and his parents. They have been stuck here on Samos for the past 15 months.
I was a student of Damascus University, but now nothing. But here, just I eating and sleeping. Same the animal. I'm so sorry. Same the animal. Just eating and sleeping. Nothing. This not life really.
This family is no exception. All of them, regardless of nationality, are waiting here for their asylum procedure to be considered by the Greek government. There are mainly Africans, Afghans and Syrians. Over time, separate communities have formed in the jungle, neighborhoods based on the most common languages: Arabic, Farsi, French and English. Originally, the area was a military camp. You can see how it looked on this archive footage from Google Earth. In 2016, it was first transformed into a center for migrants. But in 2019, there was a huge influx of new arrivals. As the official zone is only designed to house 660 people, all the other migrants are crammed into tents or whatever makeshift shelters they can assemble themselves. There is little space, The 3,500 inhabitants are densely packed into an area of around 0.2 square kilometers. The official camp is largely made of pre-purposed shipping containers surrounded by barbed wire. It is supposed to shelter the most vulnerable people. One of them is Layla, a 25-year-old African woman who fled a forced marriage and escaped from people smugglers. She wants to remain completely anonymous.
How many people in a container?
Like 8, and the few beds. We have to use few beds and like two people on one bed. However, still...
2 people in the same bed?
Mm-hmm.
And 2 people from the same family?
No. Different families, adults. Yeah. If you don't want to stay there, then they tell you, go. Go to the jungle.
I heard in one container there was like 26 people.
Actually, everything is possible in the camp. Everything is possible, whether 26 or even more than that, it is possible.
There was no way for us to verify this ourselves because we were denied entry to the official camp. But migrants and NGOs have given us videos showing what conditions are like inside. This isolation container is where COVID cases are placed. Elsewhere, the video footage is of the camp's other toilets and showers, all of them dilapidated and filthy.
And who is cleaning the toilets in the camp?
They are not being cleaned, they are not disinfected, so which means they carry a lot of diseases. And we are very many people who are using them. You can just imagine.
Charisma is a 24-year-old Congolese national with a university degree, but he fled his country 2 years ago for security reasons. He says his biggest problem is having no control of his own life.
Vous attendez depuis combien de temps ici?
J'attends ici depuis 16 mois. J'ai tout fait, j'ai passé ma grande interview il y a de cela 2 mois et j'attends les résultats.
Racontez-moi un peu la procédure.
Une fois que vous avez traversé la mer Égée, les premiers jours vous arrivez ici en Grèce, on vous enregistre à la police et après ça vous devez attendre la liste qu'on vous affiche pour passer la pré-interview. J'ai attendu 1 année et 2 mois pour être affiché pour ma grande interview.
Quand vous dites que c'est affiché, ça veut dire quoi?
Ils affichent le nom à l'entrée de l'asile et vous devez à tout moment vérifier les listes qui sont affichées et c'est une punition en fait. Donc vous êtes obligé tous les jours de vous réveiller très tôt matin et d'aller devant la porte de l'asile pour voir si votre nom y figure. Et c'est comme ça qu'on se rend compte si nous sommes affichés ou pas. Et si ces jours-là, les fonctionnaires de l'asile sont gentils, ils peuvent vous appeler au microphone. Et le microphone est entendu dans tous les camps.
Vous arrivez à expliquer pourquoi c'est aussi long?
Je n'ai aucune idée sur ça, sauf peut-être que c'est la mauvaise foi ou une mauvaise administration, ou soit quelque chose est créé pour nous punir, quelque chose comme ça, peut-être.
Quand vous êtes arrivé en Grèce, est-ce que vous avez imaginé que ça allait se passer comme ça?
Non, je n'imaginais absolument pas que j'allais passer 2 ans dans une souffrance atroce, dans de telles conditions. Je n'imaginais pas, je pensais que l'Union européenne prendra soin de moi, mais c'est arrivé, alors quoi faire? Je suis obligé de me soumettre. Je suis pratiquement un esclave et c'est comme ça qu'un esclave doit se soumettre à son maître. Et on se soumet au maître.
Months of waiting, of uncertainty in such an overcrowded space. It makes the camp into an unstable powder keg.
Vous devez vous supporter.
Il y a des tensions entre les communautés, c'est pas facile.
Bien sûr, c'est pas facile. Il y a du sang qui coule sur l'asphalte à tout moment. Donc vous devez juste être concentré et surtout ne pas céder. Ne pas lâcher, surtout. Ne pas lâcher.
Of course, videos shot by the migrants themselves are only indirect sources of information. We have to get them verified. To do this, we access the video metadata and use an EXIF tool program which allows us to analyze the source code. We then find the exact date of the video's creation. The fight in that last video took place on August 4th, 2020. That's not to be confused with the dates of the video transfer on our computer. This video was filmed the week before we arrived when it rained a lot. The images show the dreadful consequences for the camp. Few imagined what they'd find in Samos. This man is Senegalese, a stylist in his home country. He asked to speak with us.
C'est la honte de l'Europe. Il n'y a pas de vie et l'humanité ici. We have not human right in here. Non, il n'y a pas. Mais la souffrance, la discrimination, le racisme. J'ai eu demandé comment je peux rester dans un petit cas, on tente de même pas 1 mètre. Pendant 1 an, 7 mois. La chaleur me tue, la froide, l'hiver. Il n'y a pas d'électrique, il n'y a pas de l'eau chaude pour me laver. Je dormais avec les rats, parfois on tue ici les serpents.
The camp authorities do provide free meals, but many here consider them inedible.
C'est pas bon la nourriture qu'on donne ici, même le chien ne mange pas, madame, on nous dit créature. Le nourriture, si je mange, je peux constiper, je peux rester 6 jours sans aller aux toilettes à cause de cette nourriture. Voilà. Oh, regarde.
Et c'est quoi dedans?
Je ne sais pas, madame, parce que je ne mange pas ça, c'est pas bon.
Edible waste attracts rats that are almost as big as cats. They tear through the tent walls to steal the food and sometimes bite people as they sleep. It's fortunate that so far the camp hasn't been overwhelmed by COVID, because its healthcare facilities seem woefully inadequate. This Syrian family has been in Samos for 16 months. They wanted to tell us about their children. Since none of them spoke English, a neighbor was called to translate.
Are you talking English? So, what is the problem with the children?
واحد عنده فتحة بالقلب، واحد نقص نمو، وعنده بنت حالة نفسية. And this
And the other one?
another one have problem no every day give vitamin every day. This 20 kilo.
20 kilo.
20 kilo.
How old is he?
10.
10 years old, oh yeah. And the camp, they do nothing for you?
الكامب أعطاك أي شيء؟
الكامب ما أعطاني، حولوني على المشفى ما أعطاني أي أوراق.
Nothing. Come speak, go to hospital. These guys go to hospital, nothing. Speak every day, go.
And there is a doctor in the camp?
One doctor.
Only one doctor for 3,500 migrants, with some additional care from NGOs and volunteers. And all of them are sounding the alarm on another issue, the declining mental health of those they see. A man comes up and takes off his sweater. He wants to show us his scars. It seems they are self-inflicted.
Why? Why?
Samos problem. Samos.
You are alone here?
Samos.
Your family?
Family, Syria, go one. Yes.
He came alone from Syria to Samos 18 months ago. The NGO that had stitched up the wounds later confirmed it's not the only case of self-mutilation they've seen. Desperation and frustration are driving some of the migrants here to extreme acts. Several fires broke out in Samos in 2020. Of 3 that happened in the autumn, 2 were believed to be caused by arson. Migrants told us they'd been able to video these fires from close range. Using the same tools as before, we found GPS coordinates in the video's metadata. We were able to verify the images are of a fire in the Samos camp on November 11th, 2020. Fortunately, no one was seriously injured in that fire, but it caused much damage and many refugees lost what little property they had. What makes these squalid and unsafe living conditions all the more disturbing is that since 2015, Greece has received over €3 billion from the EU to help it handle the influx of migrants. The bulk of that money is supposedly funding the management of the asylum and integration program. There's no question that €3 billion is a large sum, but the migrants on Samos are puzzled why none of it seems to come their way.
On n'envoie pas cet argent. Il n'y a rien qui l'envoie ici. Peut-être que cet argent est géré ailleurs. Nous vivons dans la jungle. S'il y avait de l'argent de l'Union européenne, sûrement que l'on devait voir des toilettes, que l'on devait voir des douches, ou soit, on n'en voit rien. Nous vivons dans la jungle avec des serpents, avec des rats alors. Quel argent? Vous vous retrouvez là. C'est comme si vous êtes en enfer et pas en Europe.
We would have liked to raise some of the same issues with the Greek authorities, and we tried for several weeks to obtain an interview or comment. They said they didn't have enough time to respond to us.
Comment tu vas? Ouais, ça va. Tu viens d'où?
Vathy, ça fait combien de temps que vous êtes dans ce camp?
Presque 3 ans. Ben oui, je suis arrivé ici au mois de juillet 2018, un certain dimanche vers 9h du matin.
Vous arrivez à vous expliquer pourquoi ça prend autant de temps?
Il n'y a personne pour nous expliquer. C'est difficile à vivre, très très difficile. Vraiment, il y a une douleur dans le cœur. C'est l'âme qui pleure, ce n'est plus les corps. C'est l'âme qui pleure parce qu'on se sent emprisonné. Tu es seul dans ta tente, tu pleures, comme un petit enfant.
As month follows month and nothing changes, some seek comfort with their neighbors in this battered community. Night falls early in the Samos camp. After 6 p.m., the atmosphere changes. For those with families, it's time to eat together if there's food. But outside the official zone, there's no light. The paths are empty, and for some, especially for women and young people traveling alone, the darkness brings fear. This 19-year-old Haitian woman lives with her sick mother after fleeing the violence at home. Now, every night, they hide in their tent.
Vous sortez pas la nuit?
Non, non.
Pourquoi?
Je suis restée dans la tente. Puis à cause des rumeurs, le soir, c'est le plus souvent, ce sont les garçons qui sont dehors. Donc, en tant que fille, je ne peux pas sortir. Je ne peux pas savoir ce qui peut arriver à tout moment, donc je préfère rester à la maison.
Et si vous devez aller aux toilettes la nuit, vous faites comment alors?
Là, je préfère pas le dire.
Vous nous expliquez le truc?
Ok, on a ça, on le fait, puis au matin, on aille le jeter.
C'est difficile hein, pour vous?
Oui.
Vous vous attendiez pas à ça hein?
C'est difficile.
For Layla, such fears became real. A victim of human traffickers in Turkey. She managed to escape and arrived in Samos, where she had to fend for herself.
How it works? They give you a tent?
No. I was not given any tent. I was given a sleeping bag, a blanket, and told to go out there to look for a place. Like maybe the easiest one, they told me, go to your friends. but I never knew anybody here.
A man offered to help and said he would put her up for the night, but it was a trap.
I was abused, reason being I never had a place to stay. It was horrible, but I don't think I would love to talk about it.
What she doesn't want to say is that 3 men took turns to rape her that night. She took refuge with an NGO and reported it to the police.
Of course, they had to interrogate me several times, like asking me questions which were hurting me. But you know, that is their job, what should I say? And that is when they gave me a letter to go to the main hospital. They needed proof. And from there, that's when I was given a house outside the camp.
What happened to the people who make the aggression on you?
They were not good, because me, my own self, I didn't recognize them. Yeah.
Layla's story is not unique. In 2020, 40 sexual assaults or rapes were officially recorded in the Samos camp. But NGOs say that doesn't count for the many more victims who don't dare to go to the police.
Also viele Frauen, entweder dauert es sehr lange, bis sie überhaupt darüber sprechen. Also oft ist das nicht das Erste, das sie machen, wenn etwas passiert, sondern erst Monate später. Dann ist es sowieso zu spät. Viele Frauen wissen nicht, von wem sie angegriffen wurden sozusagen. Und dann halt, wenn es innerhalb von Familienstrukturen passiert, ist es auch, also man möchte eigentlich fast niemand zur Polizei gehen.
Liska Burnett has been in Greece for 5.5 years for the NGO Local Roots. In normal times, up to 300 migrant women a day might take advantage of this safe space. Now it's closed because of COVID.
Die Sicherheit der Frauen, das ist ein sehr schwieriges Thema. Also es hat im Camp eigentlich fast keine Sicherheitsmaßnahmen. Also viele Leute leben im sogenannten Jungle, man kann die Zelte nicht abschließen. Oft hat es keine Toiletten in der Nähe, das heißt, es hat lange Wege, um überhaupt auf Toiletten gehen zu können. Auch Duschen sind oft nicht abschließbar. Es gibt auch oft Duschen, die nicht mal einen Vorhang haben oder eine Türe, also das gibt es immer wieder. Und es gibt ja sehr viele lange Schlangen, wo die Frauen anstehen müssen. Das sind alles Sicherheitsrisiken. Also das sind alles Situationen, in denen Frauen Übergriffe erleben. Und dem kann man nicht entgehen in diesem Camp, wenn man dort lebt.
In the most serious cases, victims used to have the possibility of being transferred to safe houses outside the camp. But the Greek government has closed them down too.
Also was gesagt wird von der Regierung ist, dass hier gibt es ja das neue Camp, das bald eröffnet werden soll. Und dort hat es alle Strukturen, die solche Frauen zum Beispiel dann benötigen. Das wird gesagt.
That new camp is here. Since March 2020, the Greek government has been building this new facility 6 kilometers from Vathy. When it opens sometime this year, it will be a closed unit and the 3,500 migrants on Samos will no longer be able to enter or leave the facility.
Mais ils ont fermé le programme avant que le camp ouvre.
Ja, genau, das ist passiert, ja. Ich habe Geschichten gehört von solchen Frauen, die wurden zurückgebracht in einen Container ohne Matratzen, mit vielen unterschiedlichen Familien zusammen, also mit vielen Leuten, die sie nicht kannten, zum Teil auch mit Männern im selben Container. Ja, und das ist schon sehr dramatisch, dass dies passiert hier.
Layla was one of those returnees. As far as she knows, she might see her unknown assailants every day.
I don't know them, and maybe they're watching me every day, and that is what is hurting me, you know. I just stay being hurt every day, cry by myself alone, and this is not something that you can share with everyone. You die with it.
The conditions we've seen perhaps explain why the authorities didn't want us filming on Samos. A new camp might make a difference, but for now it's clear that the old one has done Europe little credit.